Alrighty then guys, so this video I'm just going to be going over some blunting appetite hacks. So these should only be used to help you get from meal 1 to meal 2, or if it's nighttime, how do we deal with those nighttime cravings, okay? You shouldn't use this to skip meals, but you should use this to help you go from meal 1 to meal 2, or meal 2 to meal 3, or to end the night. Alright, as soon as you start skipping meals, the ghrelin hormone, the hunger hormone, is going to start smacking you around the face, eventually going to tell you to eat. So these blunting appetite hacks will push the clock back a little bit, but they're not going to get you to eat 0 calories a day. They're not that good. Alright, you should still be having your meals, you should still be sticking to your calories, because you're also going to lose muscle if you don't. Alright, and anyways, they're not that effective, but you'll see they can help a lot. Okay, so one way that you can blunt your appetite is warm drinks. So coffee, tea, green tea as well. Black tea or green tea, of course, we're not adding sugar, so we want it to be sugar free. Alright, and of course, the more caffeine you have, the less hungry you are. Not only does caffeinated drinks, but also decaf coffee, there's just something about the warm feeling that you get from warm drinks, does something to your stomach, gives your brain the illusion that you're eating, certainly does blunt your appetite. So if it's coming to the late at night, you might want to switch to decaf. It's still going to work, just obviously not as good as if you did have the caffeine as well, if that makes sense. Another cool thing is, even though you are having decaf coffee, it still does have a little bit of caffeine in, so maybe it is something, if you track caffeine, I don't personally track it, because I'd realise I'd have a heart attack by 60, but if you do track it, then just keep in mind that decaf coffee still has trace amounts of caffeine in, alright? Which is good if you're trying to be in a calorie deficit. It also raises your NEAT, so non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So the more caffeine you drink, the more fidgety you are. Do you understand? The next best thing, in my opinion, is carbonated drinks, right? So you should try and go for sparkling water over plain water. There's something about the bubbles in your stomach that gives your brain the illusion, once again, that you're eating even though you're not, or it gives your belly the full feeling even though you haven't actually consumed any calories. Because same rules apply, just like with the warm drinks. You're only drinking sugar-free drinks. That should just be a rule that you stick to from now on. Okay, so there was actually a study that they had loads of overweight people, and they split half the study in half, and they had half the study was only allowed to consume water. That was the only drink they were allowed, but the other half were allowed to have Diet Coke. I believe it was just Diet Coke. Not only did the people that were drinking Diet Coke lose more weight, but they also managed to keep the weight off for a longer period of time, or some of them kept it forever. Okay, so that tells me two things. The Diet Coke maybe possibly fixes people's sweet tooth. So maybe if you had that Diet Coke earlier on in the day, maybe that meant that you didn't go to the shop and go buy Krispy Kremes, or you didn't go buy some cookies, for example. But also, water doesn't have that carbonation feeling that Diet Coke does. If you have a Diet Coke after you've had a restaurant meal, you're gonna feel full. There's something about the bubbliness in it. You guys know what I'm talking about. That makes you feel more full. So when people go on diets and they're only drinking water because they want to be healthy, yeah, there's a difference between being healthy and losing fat, but I'd argue that if you're already a guy that likes to drink fizzy drinks anyway, you should just make it a rule where you drink Diet Cokes over full fat Cokes. Because if you just drank the Diet Coke, that's of course going to be better for you with 1 calorie versus 100 calories of Diet Cokes, of full fat Coke, sorry. Oh, but what about all the chemicals inside? Those people that say that are the same type of people that would go outside in the sun and not put sun cream on. You're going to die from sun cancer, skin cancer, more than you're going to die from artificial chemicals. Alright? But you probably will die from obesity. So if you drink full fat Cokes and you drink 5 of them a day, that's 500 calories. If you're drinking 5 Diet Cokes a day, that's 5 calories. Okay? Alright, so this one is a bit controversial, but this is a video on how to blunt appetite. This isn't a healthy video. So nicotine, of course, is going to blunt your appetite. Cigarettes, vaping, snus I don't like. Snus, I've never tried it really. Well, I have done a few times, do not like it. But all of these things, cigars as well, all of these things are going to blunt your appetite. Alright? There's probably a reason when you see people that come off cigarettes or they stop vaping, they compensate by eating more food. That's because obviously they were addicted to nicotine, so they're replacing the vice with something else, which is food most of the time. But another thing is, nicotine actually does blunt your appetite. It makes you less hungry. Alright, there's something about smoke and just nicotine in general that makes you less hungry. Okay, so if you can help it at all, prevention is key. You shouldn't really be getting hunger pains because, believe it or not, you can die without feeling hungry. You don't have to feel hungry to know that you're losing weight, alright? Because you should be eating high volume, low calorie, high protein meals. Meals that look massive, that doesn't have a lot of calories, but it's got a lot of protein, alright? So, like I said earlier on, appetite suppression should only be used to help you get from one meal to the next meal. You shouldn't use it to skip meals, because if you have 10 hours of not eating, when you do have time to eat, you're going to eat your hand off. It's like telling the kid, don't press the red button. He won't press the red button for so long, but eventually he's going to press the button. Just how it is, guys. So, a simple solution would be just to make sure your evens are more regular. Have meals every 4 hours max. I'd say 5 hours maximum. Try and aim for 3 to 5 hours in between your meals, and then it's going to be harder for you to even get these hunger signals in the first place. So, I hope this video helps you guys, and if you're struggling and you're waiting for your next meal constantly, try some of these appetite suppressant hacks, alright? If you're not already into nicotine, don't start doing nicotine. I'm not a doctor here, I'm just trying to teach you how to lose fat. Thank you for watching.